What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. So Wrath Classic has been out for a few days, and you know what? I didn't think I was going to do it, but I decided finally that I was going to re-roll on a fresh server. And that really wasn't a big deal for me because I really didn't have a lot of high-level characters anyways, because at some point in time during my Classic adventures, I switched over to Alliance, because I had been playing Horde for so long, and back in the day I played Horde, so I kind of wanted to try out something different, and then life got really busy, and I had a kid, and I had bought a house, and just everything, and I didn't have much time to play, Classic WoW, and I was playing some other games too, and just things like that, so I kind of got away from it for a while, so I didn't have a lot of high-level characters to begin with, and I thought, you know what, Wrath is here, this is my favorite expansion of all time, I want to do it fresh. And you know what? I'm surprised too because a lot of people are just like me. They're doing it fresh. And in fact, I did a poll on YouTube here, and I was surprised at how many people were also going to re-roll on a fresh server. So I did a poll and I got a number of votes. I think it was like 65 total votes by the end of it, or at this point I should say. And out of those, 49% said they were going to be starting on a fresh server, and 51% said they were not. So it's about 50-50. I mean, literally half down the middle. So that means a decent number of people are like, heck yeah, dude, fresh start. It's going to be fun. And yeah, I have to say that it has been pretty fun. Now, as you can tell, I'm not very far. I rolled a human paladin named TheKephas. I'm going to go Alliance this time, at least for now. You never know, man. I might be crazy and do both eventually. I don't even know. But for now I'm playing Alliance, and it's been fun. Went to Stormwind, I should say Elwyn Forest. I was doing quests there, and I was like, bro, this is packed. Let's go somewhere else. And I decided to come to a place that probably not a lot of people would be, and I was right. Azure Mist Isle and Blood Mist Isle is where I've been leveling, which is perfect because I wanted to roll a jewel crafter. So TheKephas is a jewel crafter. That's what he's always been, and that's what he's always going to be. So yeah, and if you're Alliance, if you want to level up jewel crafting, I think before you get to Shattrath, the only place you can do that, as far as I know, is in Exodar, in the Draenor area. So it's perfect. I'm going to level here. I'm going to level up jewel crafting a little bit, kind of get some stuff. And it's been great. I mean, there's tons of nodes around. There's some people, but not very many, and it makes it a lot easier to get quests done and level up. But I also did a lot of stuff in Elwyn Forest for a while, too, just because it was neat to see everybody, and, eventually I'm going to, probably start to get back into where people are going to be a lot and stuff like that, which is fine. But it was so packed, man. It was like too packed there for a little bit because everybody's re-rolling and everybody's starting in the same spot, so it's really cool. But yeah, so it's been fun, man. Classic has really taken over my WoW time, and I want to say that I want to beat this into people's heads so they understand, because I know it's hard for people to understand this. I like both retail and classic. I play both versions of the game. I know I'm not alone in that, but there are a lot of people, more outspoken people, that seems to be a foreign concept. It's like you're only allowed to like one or the other. I like both, and to make it even crazier, I like Final Fantasy 14 as well. So I'm in all of it, and people are just going to have to learn to accept that. I'm not the only one, though. I know that for sure. But, yeah, I play both, and I've been having fun with both. I think that, right now, I like Classic a lot more. I think that I enjoy playing Classic more. I like the slower pace. I like the older class designs. There's a lot of things about the older game that I just like more. And there are some things about the newer game that I wish were in the older game. And I'll be honest about that. But overall, man, I love the old style. That's just the type of gamer that I am. I'm not really into high-end mythic content and that kind of stuff. I'm into the adventure and the journey and just chilling out and just having this fun leveling experience. That's what I'm all about. And I get that some people see it as a grind and it's not their thing, man, and that is totally fine. You do you, and I will do do what I do, you know. And actually, what I do is I tend to switch it up a little bit. I'll go back and forth between the two. Like, I'm in no rush, man. Like, there are a lot of people that are playing Classic or on these fresh servers, or just, you know, trying to get ready for Northrend and just get there, get to 80, get the level cap as fast as possible. And hey, man, like, if that's what you want to do what you want to do. But for me, I'm just having fun. Like, I'm just like, you know, just chilling out, going at my own pace, doing my own thing, working on like crafting as well, like trying out different characters. I'm not going to level up just one character, I can tell you that. I'm going to level up a number of characters just because why not, you know? Like, I'm not really worried too much about rushing to the end. I'm just enjoying the experience. And hey, if I get bored and I decide to take a break, then that's what I'm going to do. But I mean, seriously, man, like, if you're going to play this, if you're going to play, I really recommend this in general for the game. You know, it's like, if you guys watch my videos and you watch my guides, like, I rarely focus on min-maxing because that's not the type of gamer that I am. I'm not really pushing for, you know, high-end content. I don't speak to that type of player because that's just never been the type of player that I've ever been. You know, I just like to play the game and have fun and just kind of go as far as I feel like going. And, you know, I think that a lot more people than some might realize are a lot like that too, you know, like, just, you know, like when they think of like playing this, like, there are some people like, oh man, going to be the first to hit 80, going to be the first to clear Nax or whatever, I don't know, like, whatever it is, like, going to min-max this thing, and that's fine, man, like, if that's you. But my advice to people is play how you want to play. Don't let other people like tell you how to play. Like, for example, my goal right now is to get a character to 55 and make a Death Knight. Guess what Death Knight I'm going to play? I'm going to play a Blood DPS Death Knight. Before you even say it, I know we're in the late iteration of the game when Blood Death Knights weren't as good DPS. They were kind of not viable at all. Probably one of the worst. Don't care. As long as I can clear the content, dude, I don't care. As long as I can get to where I want to get, I'm gonna have fun doing that, because I remember playing a Blood Death Knight back in the day and I had fun doing it. So yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do, and we're going to see how it goes. But I'm also going to be leveling up my Paladin here. You know, I had the most fun playing a Paladin in Wrath because Paladins were so strong. And I think they actually, like, nerfed them a little bit, which is kind of sad. But still, like, playing a Paladin in Wrath is, like, it's one of the easier classes. It's just like whack-a-mole. You just hit the first ability that pops up. I'm totally going to be making macros for that. And, you know, we're back at the point now in the game where macros are definitely a lot more viable. Gnome Sequencer is in Classic, and there's definitely some opportunities to work on some macros. So I want to be doing stuff like that, you know. But of course, it takes a long time to level up characters and get all those abilities to really see what I can come up with. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of characters I want to try out. I want to try out an Elemental Shaman. That seems like it might be fun. It's not something I've ever done. It's another kind of easier rotation. And I want to level up Prot Warrior. I know that sounds weird and it might be painful. I don't know. But I kind of want to check that out and see if it's any fun as well. Like, there's a lot I remember vividly about Wrath, but there's a lot I don't know because I mostly played my Paladin and, like, a little bit of a Death Knight. I remember, like, Wrath was when I stopped playing Hunter. And I don't know if it's just, like, I don't know if it's, like, the changes or what it is, but I used to play Hunter a lot. But I'm going to level up a Hunter, too, just because, dude, Hunters are so much fun. And, like, they made a lot of changes. And that's one of the things, man, is, like, you know, going from BC to Wrath, just, like, even recently, because I started playing Classic again, like, at the tail end of, like, the Burning Crusade, right before pre-patch, and I was leveling up Alliance characters over on Pagel or whatever. Like, of course, I've got Alliance characters on Pagel and Horde characters on Mankirk, and that's kind of like what I do. And mostly, like, been playing Alliance characters these days. But then I decided to reroll. But before I did, like, before pre-patch launched, like, I was playing Paladin and I was leveling up, like, a Hunter. And it's like, it was fine. Like, obviously, like, classes were a lot more fleshed out than they even were in vanilla, you know, so it was a little bit more, like, more to do, especially as a Paladin. I think it was a lot more fun. But now, like, when like, overnight, when the Wrath launched and I went back to my Paladin, it was immediately way more fun, like, so much more fun to play a Paladin because I actually had more things to do. And honestly, like, I love this version of the Paladin. Like, if this is before the combo points, also known as Holy Power, came into play for Paladins, and it's like whack-a-mole, but you've also got your seals, you've got your auras, and all this other cool stuff going on. You got like different types of judgment, and like like mana matters, but I like it. Like, it's cool because like you have ways to like keep your mana up that you can do, and like you get more things to like make that more efficient. And like same with Hunter. Like, playing a Hunter now is like, you're not like having to drink water as much, but you have this cool mechanic where like basically like what I was doing is I have like aspect of the Viper and aspect of the Hawk, and so like there for a little bit I'll be using aspect of the Hawk, and then I'll switch to aspect of the Viper, get my mana back, and then switch right back to Hawk. And so like I'm going through like this phase where I'm like burning things down like really fast, and then I'm switching over to like a mana phase where I'm still killing things pretty fast, but I'm like regaining mana. And dude, I love that. Like, cause like, not to crap on retail, but like whenever I level a Hunter in retail, my brain is completely shut off. I am paying attention to absolutely nothing, you know what I mean? And so like, it's easy in Classic, it's just about as easy, but there's a little bit more to pay attention to. Of course, I gotta feed my pet, make sure he's staying happy, I gotta keep up with my arrows, which is a lot easier now because you can have so many more stacks. Like, stacks are so much bigger and you have so many more arrows. So, there is that too. But I love Classic Hunter, man. I think Classic Hunter is one of the coolest, like, iterations of the class. And, I don't know, like, I'm sure some classes are probably way better now, I'm sure. Like, but there's just, like, a lot of classes that I really enjoy from back in these days, personally, and like with weak auras now, like that being a thing that I can use, I can make some pretty cool weak auras to help with some of the classes that might be a little bit more harder, and maybe classes that I would have had a really hard time with playing back in the day. And of course, like having console port and LVUI and UI and all kinds of like action cam. Like, look, I'm playing like it's the modern game, but it's the classic game, and it's so cool. And I think like like my ideal version of WoW. Again, I know we keep talking about like this whole thing about like, oh, you can only like one or the other, you can only play one or the other. My ideal version of WoW, honestly, is a little bit of both. There are things I like about modern game. There are things I like about classic. There are a lot of things about classic that I really do love. But I would love it if like, if retail, obviously, if it had some of the newer art styles, that would be great. If it had, even like maybe not the waypoint system, because that might take it a step too far for some people, but maybe like an option to turn that on. And if not that, then I would definitely like the outlines around quest objectives. Like for me as a visually impaired person, that would be really cool. Just like there's little quality of life things, man, that I do like about the game more in retail. And it's not like I'm not delusional, man. I mean, there are definitely improvements, but then there are also things that I think the game lost over time. So, like I've never been like I've never been someone that adheres to extremes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more practical, I'm more pragmatic about stuff. There are things I like about one, and there are things I like about the other, and there are things I think that each could learn from the other. There are definitely things about Classic that I think that retail could learn from. And some of those things are things that some people may not like. So, like leveling. Some people like that leveling is super fast in retail. Personally, I don't. I don't think that it's good, like, and interesting. I think that Classic is more interesting, but for some people, they don't like grinding at all. They want to do the in-game stuff, and so that's one of those areas where it's kind of hard to come to a consensus and design around to please everybody. But that's why I like Classic. That's why I like that there are two versions of the game, because you get a little bit of something from both. So yeah, man, I'm really excited. And I'm going to be playing this for, I think, a while, man. I mean, I'm excited for Dragonflight, too. Like, I'm going to play that when it comes out. But I definitely think that Wrath is going to keep me for a while, for real. Like, I really do. Because I loved Wrath back in the day, and I'm loving it now. And, like, I'm very quickly being reminded of why. Because a lot of it just has to do with how the game plays. And, as far as, like, what's going to happen when Wrath, like, actually launches here in, like, a month. Like, well, a couple weeks, I guess. Like I think it's like the 26th when everything goes live. I'm hoping like it'll be interesting. Times have changed for me. I don't have my old guild that I had back in the day. I don't have a group of friends like I had playing WoW. But I started in this exact same place when Wrath came out before. So who's to say what could happen? It's definitely one of those things. It's more intimidating for me to not have people that know me, with my vision and how the game plays in WoW, and doing group content. But it's something that, we'll see what happens. Life is also very different for me now. I have I have other responsibilities that I didn't have before. But there's always a way to make those things work. So it's just a matter of just seeing what can happen there. It's interesting. I know there's like a big thing about Dungeon Finder. Are they going to bring Dungeon Finder back? And I can understand, like, I really don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. There must have been like something I'm supposed to kill. I remember this little book here, but I can't click on it. Anyway, I'll figure that out later. I'll just go kill stuff for now. But like, it's interesting. I can totally understand why they wouldn't want to put Dungeon Finder in. I mean, classic people are already getting crap from like retail, because like there are a lot of retail players that are just looking for any excuse to make fun of classic players, like, and paint them with the same brush. Like, hey, you don't actually want classic, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, man, just relax. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like I said, I think a lot of people think more like me and have always thought more like and what I mean is, like, even if they don't agree with everything I think a lot of people are like, I just like the old game better, and I think there's probably some things that would be improved upon. Like, I don't think a lot of people, when they were asking for a classic, were saying, I want everything to stay the same. I mean, there were some, and I think a lot of that's because people are afraid that if they change things, that it's going to go right back to where WoW went. And for a lot of people, that's not what they want. But at the same time, there's also the opportunity for improvements. And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I think that Dungeon Finder is one of those things that people are going to be divided on. And I even back, like, even when I always thought Dungeon Finder was bad, like, I've honestly, like, relaxed on it a lot. And it's a meme, like, well, yeah, of course, now you have a family, a wife, and a kid and everything. Of course you think Dungeon Finder is okay. And it's like, it's not so much that. Like, honestly, like, I think what really turned my mind around on Dungeon Finder was playing Final Fantasy XIV. That game has a Dungeon Finder, and it wasn't so bad in that game, because people were really nice in general. Like, dungeon experiences were a lot more pleasant, so, like, pugging wasn't as big of a deal. The game was built around, like, doing dungeons for story and stuff like that, so that also had an impact. There's just other things like that. Dungeons are shorter, there's a lot less stress. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. So, and also, like, I've learned, like, really, if people want to be social, they will. That's one of the biggest things I've learned. But at the same time, man, like, I could see, like, maybe they'd want to try something different, because there are concepts like server identity, keeping things contained to a server, when they can, of course, because, like, there are going to be times where you may not want that if the population isn't going to be able to support that. And then there are other things like, just the concept of, sitting in town and just being ported to your dungeon, right? Like, I don't think that's the best gameplay, personally. I don't think it's fun or good to sit, especially in an MMO. It's like when you play Overwatch and you're waiting for your DPS queue to proc. You know what I mean? Like, to pop. Like, it's not fun to do in an MMO when you're supposed to be, like, in this massive world and, exploring and doing all kinds of stuff, because that's what the game is supposed to be. It's supposed to be an RPG, and I think that was a big thing for people. It's like, it went from being this, like, non-ideal thing where at least you're out in the world, like, exploring, finding the dungeon entrance, looking for a group, as opposed to just AFKing out in town waiting for your dungeon to pop. Like, obviously, I don't think it's as, like, as cut and dry as that. Like, obviously it's very painful to sit and spam for hours trying to find a group, and that's where I think it's like, it's tough to really know what the right answer truly is there. I think there needs to be something to make that whole process easier for people. And you have to remember, too, not everybody's social, man. Like, not everybody cares about that kind of stuff. Like, there are people that like the novelty of being in a world full of people, but don't necessarily want to be really social. I know that might not make sense for some, but it is how some people think, you know what I mean? And so I'm a little bit more like, I think if they added Dungeon Finder, then it might be easier for me to have the time to do dungeons, because, again, I do have, a wife and a family and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, if they wanted to try to do something different, then I could totally see that as well. You know what I mean? Or something like that. And it's hard to say what they could do. there. They could even do, I don't even know, like maybe like a different difficulty that's for a dungeon finder for people that want a more casual experience, maybe want to run dungeons and get some type of gear, but maybe it's not as good. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't, maybe they just do dungeon finder. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be like, this is going to ruin the game like I used to think. And I understand why people might, but I don't think like that anymore. Not so much because my circumstances have changed. Because like if I really thought, like truly thought, oh, this would ruin the game, but it would be better for me, I still wouldn't want it, because I want the game to be truly the best it can be. You know, for the game, for the sake of the game. You know what I mean? So like if it's content that I personally couldn't experience, you know, like then that's fine, as long as the game's being enjoyed by people the best it possibly could. I know that might sound weird to some, but like that's just how my brain works. But having seen it work in other games really well, I think that the Dungeon Finder never really was the complete issue. I think it just like it's that with how WoW is designed, pugs, the community being a little bit more toxic and hostile, stuff like that. I think that has a lot to do with it, you know, and some of that's on Blizzard too, just not dealing with things as well as they could, being more hands off in that area, you know, relying on like mass reporting. That's a horrible way to handle toxic players, you know. So I think that I think a big thing would be like if they were to cultivate a more pleasant community, if they were to make dungeons not so painful, you know, I think that Dungeon Finder wouldn't be as bad, and then leave the harder content for people that look for groups. And obviously, like if you encourage people, like, hey man, maybe if you find, you know, a group of people to play with or whatever, you can do more challenging content, you can coordinate, because that's how it is with any group game. You think of a game like Overwatch or other games, like if you're going to do competitive, man, it might be beneficial for you to have a buddy if you have one, because you'll probably win more games if you're duoing up, you know. So that's not uncommon to have that mentality, but also have it available for people that don't have that option, you know. So yeah, like I said, like I'm just a lot more laid back nowadays, I think, and I've experienced a lot of other games. But I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I mean, we'll see what happens when I get to that area. You never know. Maybe I'll run into some people that want to do dungeons, and you know, I'll have some new friends to run dungeons with or something. But if not, you know, we'll figure it out. I'll worry about that tomorrow. That's not today's problem. Right now, like level 15, just questing through Blood Mist Isle, which I've really never done before. Honestly, this is my first time ever even questing through this zone, and that's kind of cool. So first time experience in classic Wrath, which is wild. But yeah, so like, you know, I'm having fun, and I just, you know, I hope you guys are having fun. If you're playing this too, you know, say hi. Let me know in the comments below if you're, you know, having fun. You know, if you ever, like, I'm on Maladath. It's the PvE new fresh server. It's the US East one. If you ever whisper me in game, by the way, and I don't say anything back, I want to make sure people understand this. It's not because I'm being a jerk or anything. I think a lot of times, like, I just don't see it because I have vision problems. So if you ever say hi to me in game and I don't say hi back or anything like that, like, please don't take that personally. I say this exact same thing to people in real life. Like, sometimes I just don't see. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like a perfect way to get out of talking to people, right? Just kidding. So seriously, like, if you say hi to me in game, that's cool. If I don't say hi back, you know what? That's fine too. Please don't take it personally. You're just trying to talk to a blind guy, and sometimes that doesn't go over so well. But yeah, so if you're on Maladath, you know, feel free to say hi. Hope you're having fun. If you're playing Classic, if you're playing Retail, it doesn't matter what version of the game you're playing, as long as you're having fun. It doesn't matter how you play that version of the game, as long as you're having fun. You do what makes you happy, and you do what makes you enjoy the game. And I hope that whatever version of the game that you play, that you have the most fun that you can have. And yeah, so I hope you guys are having fun. As far as like content for this, I think that I will be doing some type of content for this, because I'm going to be playing this for a while. I definitely think I want to work on some guides eventually. I may not get max level characters before I do guides, but there's enough information out there that I can learn and learn guides and play the classes enough to kind of learn the guides, you know. So I'll do that, and then I'll work on some macros as well for classes that can use them, because like there are plenty now. So that I might do the classic guide macro, setup that I do. I want to do some add-on videos for sure for Classic. I am playing with a controller. I'm using console port. It's just like with retail. It's pretty amazing. Mod authors are outstanding these days, man. Like, just keeping up with things. Had very little issues, So, and then, of course, I've had a lot of people that just have asked, like, you're going to play on YouTube or whatever. I'd love to watch. And, like, I'm trying to think about how to do that, because it's one of those things where, like, I actually play a lot. Even though I'm a stay-at-home dad, I watch my kid all the time. We hang out. It's actually a really easy game to play when you're a stay-at-home parent. It's funny. Like, I actually have a lot of time to play because he's napping, I'm playing, he's hanging out in here watching TV and just chilling and playing. I'm doing that, and I can just easily step to the side where I'm safe and then just chill with him for a while and then come back to the game when he's ready to go back off on his own. It's pretty cool, man. Like, I think that's why I'm so chill these days because. It's just how life is. It's very chill, So that's kind of how things are right now, man. It's been a lot of fun. So, like, maybe I'll figure out a way to, like, do some sort of, like, just me playing. Like, maybe I can, I don't know if this sounds interesting. Maybe you guys let me know in the comments. Like, maybe I won't do, like, a series, like a specific leveling series. Maybe I'll just kind of jump around and, like, just do random, like, episodes of, like, adventures in the game or something. So if that's something you think you might want to see, hit me up in the comments and maybe I'll try to do something like that. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys are having fun like I am, man, because I'm having a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.